Good morning.
Good morning! My name is John.
And I'm Jess.
And we're the Relationship Revivalists, just like you've heard in many of our videos. We are...
Or tea or whatever.
Yeah, whatever you're drinking. This is something that we've started doing many weeks ago, and we just continue on doing it. And if you are new here, we really want to say welcome, and we hope that you get all the information that you need to help fix your relationship and grow your relationship into we are just hoping that your relationship grows into that explosive love, the one that you're just, how you just started, you'd start a relationship, you meet someone, you just think about them all the time, and it's exciting, and that's a little bit on the way of having that explosive love. This time on the other side of meeting them, we want you to know more about your partner, your spouse, and experience that same excitement.
That's so important to do that. So it kind of helps you ensure a little bit. The more you know your potential mate.
Hey,
Hi,
Jennifer. Sister.
Glad you're watching. It's so important to really get to know that person on a lot of levels. Like how do they... what do they do under stress? Things like that. Do they fly off the handle, or are they pretty mellow and they just take care of things? It's really important to know that before you really make any kind of commitments, and especially before you really get emotionally involved, because it's so hard to back out of the relationship. The longer you're in it, the more involved you are emotionally. It's like, that's a really red flag that I see. Pops up sometimes, but I really love him. That's really hard in that place then, if it's like a major red flag. So just a little tidbit. If you're starting a relationship, really commit to getting to know that person as much as you can before you really commit your heart to that person.
It's almost a clipboard moment, really. Like dating, yes, it's fun, but you have to have that mental clipboard of questions you're going to ask, not like in an interview where you're like, okay, question number 1.
Well, no.
You want to slide those things in, occasionally, randomly, just so you get to know the person that you're dating. And, this is something I believe that we really need to talk about more is talking about being single in today's world, because there's some expectations that are there for... like the world wants you to say, oh, this is okay, or that's okay. You shouldn't do that. And we want to bring that to light and say, hey, this is the best way. The God's way is the best way.
Oh, what if you're already married for 15 years? How do you get that spark back? I'm so glad you asked that question, because that's what we've been talking about for quite a long time. And we do have like a really cool product to help you with that. But just like really quickly, what are a couple 2 things that we could tell her? Really quick.
I think the first thing I would say is I would start looking on your inside and say, where are some areas that I can forgive? Because really forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. And when you've forgiven, you're going to start seeing some things that are like things you can't believe they're happening before your eyes. We live in a world where relationships are formed, and the relationship is a mirror, essentially. And if you forgive the person, you're actually forgiving yourself for having that hurt in your heart. And that is going to be a huge step in getting to where you want after being married for 15 years. I mean...
Well, good job for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. We really... we pray for you to continue your longevity in your marriage.
And also, I would say when you're taking a look at yourself and maybe those hurts that you've had, those walls that you might have built up as you're forgiving and giving those things to God first and foremost. Always take it to God first. So think about, what's the major thing in your relationship right now that maybe has made you kind of lose that spark. Take that to God first and ask him, Lord, what do you say about this? What do you say about it? And wait and get his word on it, because when you have what God says about it, you know that is the path that he has for you. And along with that, when you are kind of looking inward, bring God into it always. Ask the Lord, is there an area that that maybe I am not pleasing you in, or that might just stick out like a sore thumb to my husband, for example. Maybe there's something about me or that I do, and let him kind of show you those things. And it's not just one-sided. Marriage is with two people. It's not just you need to do all the work. Both do need to work on themselves and work on the marriage. But like, I'm the only person that I can really think about and try to change with God.
Because you think about it, I mean, you're the only person, like you just said, that you can actually have any control over. And the thought that's come through my head lately is, well, the prophet can't say, how does that go? Where
the prophet's not receiving his own hometown, basically.
Yes, but I don't think that really applies when you're married. You are your own town, essentially, in that sense. So you've got to be cognizant of where your hearts are, what you can forgive, and like Jess, you've just nailed it. You've got to be about yourself first. Control what you have first, and then the others will respond because of what you have done with yourself.
And I think we can tie our topic today right into that, because our topic today is how does fear wreak havoc in your relationship? Is fear a major player in your relationship? And you might think, well, no, we're not afraid. But when you really think about it, there's two forces at work. There's love and there's fear, and they're opposite. And so anything that doesn't feel like it's in love, that it's in the area of fear. And I know for myself, here's a little example. If I am anxious about something and I'm not taking a hold of it, taking it to God like I'm supposed to, and trusting Him with it, if I let it, kind of fester in my mind too long, it starts to come out in my attitude because, I'm feeling yucky because I'm anxious, and then I start to feel yucky, and then sometimes it comes out in my words and how I relate to John, which I'm not proud of. I don't think any of us would be proud to say that. But that's what happens if we allow fear to stay as a major player in our relationship. And, we don't want fear to be there. We want love to be at that top place, right? We want God to be there, not fear.
Yeah, and you make decisions based on fear or love. And so if you're giving most of your thought processes to fear, then you're going to make a decision that when it comes to crunch time, you're going to make a decision out of fear. And that's no way to win. Guys, if you're listening, you want to be a winner, and so you want to make decisions out of love. Be that guy who makes the right decisions all the time. So you have to make the decision out of love. And if you've had this past of like being fearful, and you've masqueraded it with what would you call it? Like I'm pride. Pride is a good way to masquerade fear. And like guys will sit there and we'll go, yeah, I got this. This is good. I have no fear, and they portray that no fear attitude. But when you get down in the middle of the thought process, in the middle of the heart, where everything starts, you find out that there's a whole lot more fear there than you realized. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't think I had fear at all growing up, and then I look back on my life and I'm like, wow, I made these decisions and this decision based on fear, and I had no clue at the time. So, really, guys and girls, gals, you want to look at your past, see the decisions that you've made, and as you learn from what decisions you've made, you can start to make better decisions out of love. And that's one of the biggest keys you can do as far as bringing fear out of your relationship, bringing fear out of your life and how you live. Jessica has been studying fear in the last few weeks, and kind of taking you along a guided tour through this book that she's reading. It's called Make Fear Bow. Isn't that an exciting book title? I mean, make fear bow, and like you have control over it. It can no longer touch you.
Here's the book right here. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's called Make Fear Bow by Gary V. Whetstone. A lot of my notes there.
Yeah,
but there it is.
It's tough.
Anyway,
the
but
lights
maybe
are
we
different,
can put it in the description later or something.
Yeah, and if you want to get this book and read along, I will put I'll put a URL down below, a link. But, if you don't want to wait for that and you want to run out and get it now, it's the relationshiprevivalists.com/make fear bow. That will get you right to the Amazon store, and you can buy that and get it delivered. Since we are in quarantine, bookstores really aren't that open because I don't think they're a necessity. If they are, that's great. But anyways.
But yeah, so we'll be spending another week in another new chapter in Make Fear Bow this next week. So please tune into that. And thank you if you've already started that journey with me to get rid of fear out of our lives and allow more love in. And we decided we would change it to a love study instead of a fear study.
Yes.
Because we want to focus on love and have more love in our lives and less fear.
Yeah, and so whatever you focus on grows, and that's what we want we want to grow love in our life, in our relationship. And on this Sunday morning, if you're on the West Coast, we've got another 5 minutes left of morning time. So Sunday morning brunch, we'll bring topics to you so that you're able to learn. And we also want to have this to be a time, just as Katrina, it's further away, I'm sorry. Katrina. It's Katrina, just as she had said, hey, I've been married for 15 years, so how do I get the spark back? And, honestly, we have to take it back to the basics. And so if you're curious at all how to get some answers about your relationship, we would love to hear from you. And even if you're doing this in a replay, shoot us a message on this video, and we'll respond. We respond to all of the comments that are on our page, so just so you know. And I think that's it for today. Do you have anything else to say, Jess?
I think we covered it pretty well in a quick little chunk of time. We thank you for watching. We appreciate that. Thank you for your comments. We want comments. We want that interaction. So thank you for making it a conversation today. That was awesome.
Yes.
And we will see you next time.
See you later.